The Jesus Trilogy, Book 2, Then There Were Two, Chapter 26. You know, it's really hard. Yes, I know, but at least your husband is alive. I'm sorry. No, no, don't worry about me. I'm okay. We had 40 wonderful years together. Don't you miss him? Terribly. Johnny is gone just 1 week and I miss him so, and now I'm pregnant. I'll soon be fat and no one will want me. Diana. I mean, Johnny, he won't want me. Once I have a baby, I'll be stretched out and he won't love me anymore. He'll run off with some cheerleader. Elizabeth rubbed her sore, swollen ankles. Then she looked back at Diana. Something strange had happened between them. Before Johnny and Diana's marriage, Diana couldn't stand her. But now, with her pregnant and Johnny gone all the time, a transition of sorts had taken place. The two would now talk for hours. Diana had few friends. She thought herself too good for most common folk, and so had no one really to confide in. She saw Johnny once a week, usually on Mondays he would come home. He would then have to return on Tuesdays to begin the weekly practice. Monday they were inseparable, but the other 6 days there was nothing. She, somewhat by default, took to talking to her mother-in-law, but to her surprise and Elizabeth's, they had a lot in common. Elizabeth never shut up, and Diana was quite a talker too. Despite this, they would hold long conversations. They were constantly interrupting one another, but they got used to one another's banter and soon became fast friends. As the season wore on, Johnny did not always come home on Mondays. He was getting more and more playing time, but despite this fact, the team did not improve. By mid-season, the team was 1-7 and essentially out of the playoffs. Johnny was now playing almost every down. The old coach was fired, and the interim coach was told to make use of the young talent. Johnny would carry 35 to 40 times a game. The line was non-existent, so every yard he got was gotten entirely on his own. He had 700 yards by mid-season, but he was taking a terrific pounding. When he did get home on Mondays, he was so sore that instead of making love to his beautiful bride for 24 hours, she would essentially be giving him physical therapy. Of course, there was love-making, but not as before. Diana would cry each Tuesday morning when he left, and then she would while away the rest of the day talking to Elizabeth. Occasionally she would go out shopping. She ran the family books. Johnny knew little about money. He had more than he really needed and never had any to begin with. So Diana was left to run things. Johnny got paid weekly and she set up a budget and stuck by it. The budget was skewed more towards spending and less towards saving. She would scour the markets with Elizabeth. They would occasionally run into the Barabbas's girl or some other friends, but they would always have lunch together and were becoming very close. They were good bargainers, especially Elizabeth. She had never had much money, living on a priestly salary. She was bold almost to the embarrassment of Diana, but when she got the price down on some nice item and Diana realized she could buy even more things, she was delighted. Gradually, they were getting her and Johnny's house furnished with beautiful things. Diana's taste was impeccable. She always dressed in fine tailored clothes to accent her long dark hair and would occasionally get a few things for Elizabeth. After game 10, another loss for Johnny's team, though a closer game than usual, Johnny's knee really began to hurt. He iced it down, but after a half hour he could not even bear weight on it. Most of his dejected teammates had left for the evening. They made the usual shambles of the post-game meal, a combination of big salads and junk food, and then had taken off to parts or women unknown. This had been a Monday night game, so Johnny was not going to be able to make it home this night. As he sat by his locker holding his knee, he began to wonder if it was all worth it. He wasn't even sure he'd last the season, but he had to. His lovely bride, his mother, and his new baby were the most important things in his life. They were all he really had. Though he had made friends in the team, he never would have friends like Jesus, Judas, and Barabbas. They would always be friends, but now the four horsemen were all living separate lives. They seldom saw each other, but they had a bond, the bond of the four horsemen, the championship season, the bond that could never be broken. He smiled through his pain as he remembered how happy they had all been. He longed for that time, a time history would not forget. Hello? Silence. Hello? Oh, sorry, Johnny answered. He moved his knee ever so slightly. Ouch, he said. Knee trouble? Yeah, a little, but it'll be okay by tomorrow. He doubted the validity of his prognosis. Just heard it tonight? Yeah, well, it's been a little sore all along. Oh, but it'll be okay. Mind if I take a look? Sure, he said, finally looking up to see who was talking to him. She knelt in front of him and put the back of her strong hands on his knee. He winced, but then relaxed. Her soft hands gripped his leg firmly as she put pressure on the lateral side of his muscular knee. I'm the new team trainer. Oh, yeah, they said they'd be getting a new one, but you're a... Yes, Johnny, I am a woman. As she palpated and manipulated his knee, he took stock and realized she was just not a woman, but strikingly beautiful. A female creature. He hadn't seen that beautiful for a long time. She had long hair, very thick black eyebrows, a prominent nose, and was tall, very tall. She seemed nearly as tall as he was. Bend your knee. He dutifully did so, wincing again. She took hold of his calf and drew out on his bent knee. Then she pushed in. He again winced a little. Your ligaments are a little lax, Johnny, but I think in time we can build them up and stabilize your knee. She then set about examining the other knee. This one's better, but we will really have to work on the right one. She stood, turned 180 degrees, and walked crisply toward the door. Johnny rolled his eyes at the beautiful view. Miss, what's your name? He had not seen a ring on her finger. He had not put his back on yet. He wondered if she had noticed the telltale white ring of skin on his left fourth finger. He would learn later that she had. Charisse, she said. She did not turn around, but a faint smile came to her thin lips as she walked out of the locker room into the cool night air.